Welcome, Glitchers. Welcome to the June monthly AMA. My name is Aram Hami. I'm the Glitch Marketing Manager. Here we got Diego and Rebecca again. Thanks for joining us. I see everyone's here in the chat. And those that are not here today, this will be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel. So we're going to go ahead and begin. Rebecca will read off all the community questions. We'll go through some questions around the Phase 3 launch, where we're at in terms of development, what we're doing on the marketing side, and then we'll go ahead and go through all the channels and read off the additional community questions and address those. Okay. So thanks everyone for being here again, and let's get started. So Rebecca, why don't you kick us off?
For sure. Okay. Question number one. How is the remainder phase 3 development progressing, and what can people look forward to in the short term? Diego?
Yeah, so we are progressing fine. We have a couple of blockers, but nothing that nothing that will prevent us from progressing with the planned outcomes and deliverables. So essentially, we have two blockers in the development team that we are working very hard to dissolve, and those two blockers are the ones that will allow for the community to be able to run nodes on mainnet, which is like our big focus right now. It's we tested it on the testnet. We are almost ready to move it to mainnet, and those are the two blockers that we my assumption at this moment is that we will be able to dissolve those issues, those challenges within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Great, good to hear. So leading into that, when will all of the team validators migrate to mainnet? What does the journey look like to allow people to run a mainnet node? So following on from what you just
said. That is connected with the blockers I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. So when we will open, so the key question here is when we will open to mainnet, and that's currently being blocked and is constrained by these two challenges that our team is working on. So after we dissolve that challenge within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will give it like 2 more weeks for us to thoroughly test it, and then we will open to the community to run their own validators. So how the journey will look like is we need to wait about 5 to 6 weeks approx for us to be able to open it to the community. And when we open, just to be clear, we will be opening like specific slot. So there is this is decentralized, but we will be opening in increments, in batches. So it's not that we will allow thousands or hundreds of nodes to be running. There is a specific parameter. This is pretty technical, but just it makes sense for me to explain. So there is a specific parameter that we will be tweaking, which is the max amount or max quantity of validators that we will allow to run. So we will start with a small amounts. We will always run 21. That's on our side. We as Glitch, we will run 21, and then we will slowly start to increment and to see and to stabilize the network. So we plan to start with allowing 10 more validators from the community, then 20, then 40, 80, and then we will allow as many as needed. So it's like that is our as the roadmap will look like.
Yeah, and this is because it's of security, right?
Yes, so that's a good question. The key aspect here is that we want to be able to monitor what's going on. We have installed a couple of monitoring tools to understand how the dynamic of this decentralized system looks like. It's important to note for those out there who are not technical that in the centralized system, in distributed systems, there are a lot of things playing at the same time. It's not a deterministic system. It's not a website that you put it out there and it just works. So there are a lot of things that we need to monitor and to make sure that we understand how it works in order to detect some potential challenges or risk or security breaches. So that is the reason why we are very cautious when doing that. It's not like we open it and that's working. I mean, that was the way to do it back in 2009 when Satoshi Nakamoto started the thing, because nobody was taking a look. He has the privilege. I mean, he was a genius, or he or they, but the privilege of running everything from scratch and just putting out there, just because nobody gave a damn of what was going on there, because nobody believed him. Now that there are good actors, and most importantly, bad actors who will try to steal all the funds and everything, we need to be very, very cautious.
Thanks, Diego.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, the next question, is there an update on the GitHub snapshot that was originally planned for June?
Yes, after we solve these two blockers, because if we open the snapshot right now, it could be an issue, because there are some glitches there, some issues there. So after we solve it within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we will open and share the source code for the first snapshot, and then on a regular basis every sprint. So we are running sprints in 2 weeks increments. So every sprint we will be updating the code base there. And then after that, after we open the mainnet for the community validators, we will be providing the real-time updates to the GitHub.
Yeah, I wanted to mention as well around the GitHub snapshot, there is the article that Glitch begins phase 3 launch. At the very bottom, there's a what's next section. It goes through the steps of what we're going to do, kind of like in order per se, and GitHub is kind of in the middle of there. So there's a few things that need to be done first, and then we'll start releasing some GitHub stuff. So if you go to that article, scroll down to the bottom, you'll be able to see that infographic a little bit more clearly. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Aram. Thanks, Diego. So the next question is, what have been the highlights and the biggest challenges while building?
Okay, let me start. Yeah, cool. So let me start with the technical question. So the biggest challenge for this decentralized system to work properly is to know what is the right incentive for a good actor versus a bad actor that wants to run a node. So how do we come up with the right incentive structure to make sure that a bad actor gets penalized in a way that prevents those kind of behaviors from taking place in the network? That is not as easy as it sounds, because it could be that you are a good actor and you are not behaving in the right way for whatever reason. So what if you I don't know, let me give an analogy here to make it more ground to earth. So if you are walking down the street and you throw some garbage just because you are careless, it's not a good idea for them to cut your hands, right? I mean, that will prevent you from littering your city, but that sounds like a very heavy way of penalizing people. So that is the type of things that I had to come up with the right incentive structure, and also in a way that this is not going to be like written in stone. So take a look at the history of the legal frameworks across different countries, how they do it. They evolve, they have mechanisms in place to evolve those kind of penalties, those kind of codes of conduct, which they call the rule of law, or whatever they call it in every different country, but a way how. So let's say when we launch it with a set of rules for penalties and for incentives, but I also had to define the mechanism for this to evolve, because this will never be written in stone, because it could work very well now, but what about in 6 months, 1 year, when we have tens of thousands of dApps running? Things will change, people change, the ecosystem changes, and that's the big issue here. So long story short, we are defining a kind of smart contract that is going to allow for voting, to vote for proposals to change the different parameters. So when the when the community is evolved enough and it's mature enough to understand what are the trade-offs, then we will start to allow this kind of voting systems. So in a similar way to change the constitution for a nation state. So that kind of thing, it's not easy to change the constitution. So we need to, so there are some ways that allow you to vote. If you have a good stake in the blockchain, allows you to vote. So then you can change the rules of the game. I hope this is clear, but it's a very complex subject because it's a social kind of thing. It's a psychology of the masses. So it's not just technical. It's a very complex, and there is no solution. Just to be clear, there is no solution at all. We humans are here in order to build the relationship between other parties for commerce, which is what we all do. It's these kind of things will be ever evolving across different cultures and across different nation states.
Yeah, I wanted to address the things on the marketing side, at least for Glitch here, for myself. So in terms of highlights and biggest challenges, there's a lot of things that we were doing here on the marketing side. Some of the highlights we have recently accomplished were a couple of explainer videos, which is really cool. But we're continuing doing outreach. Marketing is always ongoing, but of course, the focus is on building the technology, the actual network itself. So Diego's going to have a lot more to say than myself right now at this point, but we are moving along. But some of the challenges really is that we are looking for some key players on the marketing side. So if you're qualified copywriter or digital marketing specialist, we are hiring, as well as the tech side. So please go on our website, glitch.finance, scroll down, and there's a lot of open roles. And if you're interested in applying to those positions, reach out and upload your resume, because we're onboarding some key players here. Okay. Rebecca, if you don't have anything else to add, we can just move on to the next question.
For sure. And going back to marketing, is there a defined marketing roadmap and budget for 2022 and 2023? Around?
Yeah, so I can answer this one. In terms of roadmap, what you see right now on the website is for the remainder of phase 3. We like to release things over time as well. So phase 4, I believe, is also coming up after phase 3. We are finalizing some planning around that. There's a reason why the phase 4 roadmap isn't released on the website. We do that on purpose because we're still planning a few things. So once phase 3 is complete, phase 4 roadmap breakdown will go live. And then after phase 4 is complete, there will be a 2023 roadmap, a higher level one that will also be uploaded to the website, but it'll change a little bit. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, awesome. And as you said before, we try and update the roadmap generally bi-weekly, and so just keep checking back, and that's a good way to keep an eye on the progress of phase 3 particularly. Okay. Oh, last question. In your opinion, how do you feel about the recent hacks, exploits, and liquidations on the market? I'll open this one up.
So I can quickly answer this one. So I don't have I don't have any opinions about price action, but I can tell you that the recent exploits is pretty concerning, which is why we hammer so much into the whole security aspect of things. We want to make sure that when we release anything and everything, it's as secure as it can possibly be, and that's our core focus, at least for what I know. So that's why there's a lot of projects that kind of push things into production without it being tested, and that's one thing that we don't want to do. So that's one opinion that I have. What about you, Diego?
Well, I think about the hacks. It's like there are always risks, so you need to do your own research on. To understand exactly which projects those investors were investing and what kind of research they've done. So it's like there is rewards and there are some risks. So it's always the equation. So where do you put that? So as Aaron mentioned, we are very heavily involved. I am the guardian, the security guardian for this thing, for the technical thing. So I receive a lot of pressure. It's a healthy way to be pressuring that way. And I put a stop just because we are dealing with money here. So it's real money. So it's not just some other kind of project in which if you make a mistake, I mean, you can solve it by just a bug fix. This is real money that's on the stake. So that's on one hand for the hacks. And then about the liquidations in the market, I mean, this is part of the process. I mean, just take a look at the price action of the first Bitcoin or Ethereum over the last Ethereum over the last 4 years, Bitcoin over the last 10 years, and you will see the trend. So the trend is upward, and this is part of every technology, every and all technology that is being tested out there will go into this way, will be like, it's not like progress is never linear. It's always like very, very erratic. It's only when you take a look like a very high level view, long term, you will see the trend. But then at the micro level, you will see up and down. It's like crazy. So that this is not a right for, I mean, this is a right for, we are here for the long run. So that's why we are heavily investing in security. And this is part of the process. So we know this is part of the process. We are prepared for that. So from our perspective, from the business perspective, we embrace that because it's part of the process. I mean, so it's fine. So I don't get upset nor surprised. It's like, this is the way it goes.
That it is. Okay. If anyone's got anything else to add, we'll move on to the community questions.
No, go ahead. We would love to answer all questions from glitchers. You guys, if you have any further questions as well, we are looking at the comment box on YouTube, so feel free to drop your questions there if you haven't already. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. We've actually answered this. I'll say it again. Have you experienced any bugs, blockers, when testing the nodes on Mainnet? Diego, if you'd like to go over that one quickly again.
That goes back to my first question. So there are some bugs. I cannot disclose. It's not proper yet to disclose what kind of bugs yet, but that will be pretty clear when we disclose the GitHub snapshot and later on all the GitHub action. But yes, I mean, there are a lot of bugs, which is expected. So it's fine.
Oh, good. Okay, next one. When we approach the GRC20 token migration phase, will Glitch Wallet support hard wallet integration similar to MetaMask?
Yes, that's on the roadmap. That's definitely on the roadmap for Ledger and Trezor. We don't have yet specifically when we're going to deliver that, but that's part of the roadmap after we have a proper 100% working wallet.
Great, good to know. Any incentives for developers to build on Glitch? Is there an ecosystem development fund? Aram?
Well, right now we have a Glitch Grants program, so we have got if you guys check that out on our website, glitch.finance, we have a $2 million Glitch Grants program. So that right now is our incentive for developers to build. But however, I wanted to mention that our unique revenue sharing model kind of is the big reason, is the big value add that will provide developers, a lot of benefits. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. In terms of the other, in terms of other programs, like I know that we're talking about some GEX liquidity programs, but in terms of like builders programs right now, we're just keeping it to our Glitch Grants program. If there's any other information in the future, we'll go ahead and share that. But as of right now, that's not the case.
Cool. After the network is ready, will it all be migrated to GRC20, or can I still use another network?
So after everything is ready, we're going to have two tokens out there. GRC and ERC. Those are the two tokens that will be the official ones to use in the Glitch network. So we don't have at the moment in our roadmap to allow other networks. But that doesn't mean that we won't do it. It just means that at the moment that's not in our plans. Maybe in 6 months we see the opportunity to interoperate, because there is a bigger trend out there, which is cross-chain compatibility. So nobody knows exactly how this will work out, how to make those cross-chain bridges secure enough, and to be able to make sure that you don't get all the risk involved in the other network. So it's not as easy as just creating a bridge. You need to also to know exactly to which other network you are breaching, in order not to inherit all the bad things that the other network could have. So it's not as easy as just, hey, just do breaches to everyone. No, that's not how it works here. This is prehistoric times. The other networks could be rogue networks, could be bad neighbors, could start wars on us. So it's not as easy as just putting breaches out there. We are like ancient castles where you have only one bridge to the outside world, and you don't open too many others without proper due diligence. So that's why we don't have it yet in the roadmap.
Great. Next question here. After phase 4, do you plan to raise additional funds for ecosystem expansion?
I believe that could happen, but right now we do have a good enough funding to achieve our goals. So this is more of a question for our CTO, sorry, our COO, but there are a lot of plans in the place. Well, actually, there's a lot of planning right now happening. So, Diego, I'm not sure if you have another answer for this question.
Yeah, so our focus has to be clear. Our 100% focus is on building. We have enough resources to be able to meet our goals. So that's the most important part. So everything on top of that, everything that the business, the CEO decides to do or not, will be like a cherry on the top. So that would be great, but it's very clear that our focus is on building and building only, and we have enough resources to do that, and that's great. I mean, that's an awesome place to be, especially in these times, in the crypto winter that is coming.
Very good. I think that's from the Discord channel. Yeah. One more. Is there any dApp building along with the mainnet beside the GEX? I think that means, is there any other dApps that we know that are building on the GEX, on the mainnet, sorry?
Yeah, so there's some interest through the Glitch Grants program right now. If you are a dApp developer and want to build on Glitch, feel free to apply to the grants program. We will go through the applications and go through the relevant information with you when the time's appropriate. But there has been some initial interest in terms of the internal dApps. Right now, the GEX is the one that we're prioritizing the most, and that one will come out sometime alongside phase 4. So more information will be rolled out as we progress and as we launch the phase 4 roadmap. You'll be able to get a clearer picture about what the GEX will look like. Well, actually, if you've seen some screenshots of the GEX, we had shared some in the past. Perhaps we can re-upload that, but we did share some initial UX UI. If you go on our Telegram or go on our Twitter as of maybe around February or so of this year, you can go ahead and see those posts. So maybe, Rebecca, that can be a repost so that those that didn't see it can see some initial images of that.
Absolutely. And yeah, we regularly post across all our socials. So Twitter, Telegram, Discord. There's lots of information out there. And yeah, we'll repost those things about the GEX because it's looking awesome. So other than that, I believe that's about all we've got time for today. Aram, anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks everyone for joining. Feel free to also please follow our Twitter channel, Glitch Protocol, our YouTube channel as well, and our Telegram and our Discord is discord.glitch.finance. You can feel free to add any of your AMA questions there. After this, we'll be able to do an AMA recap. So those that weren't able to join will be able to get a quick little high-level recap. And for those that want to listen to the whole conversation, we have the video recording here. Right. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.